although we have numerical goals, which are very important because it gives us a benchmark to reach. It's more than just hitting our numbers. You know, we really want to engage in using diverse vendors, not just to hit our goal that the CPUC has put in place, but also to give back to the communities that we serve. So we use these goals as a guideline, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it stops there. We always want to try to continually engage with new diverse vendors and give back to the communities. Oh, I wanted to also mention that the CPUC also holds an annual en banc, which is a public meeting that reviews California utility results diverse spending. So I highly recommend that you look into attending the annual en banc. It's usually held in the first week of October. And this year it was just held virtually, of course, but it's something you might want to attend. It's free. Public meeting. All the commissioners from the CPUC are present and they discuss strictly supplier diversity and what the companies need to do to progress. They will point out companies that aren't hitting their goals. You know, it's just something you may want to look into. I wanted to talk a little bit about San Gabriel's diversity spend. We've really come a long way in the last 5 years. Our overall goal is 21.5%. And we first hit our goal in 2017, which we were really excited about. And 2018, 2019, we exceeded that goal. And a lot of people ask what the main contributing factors were to us hitting it and then exceeding our goal. And, you know, it was really about networking, making connections. Last year, we had 77 diverse vendors, which totaled 25.7 million of our spend. We have a lot of support in our program here at San Gabriel, and I'm very grateful for that because that really contributes to the success of the program. Our supplier diversity program is under the VP of Engineering, which really helps, in my opinion, because we're able to make a connection between those large scale projects and supplier diversity, and we're able to incorporate diverse vendors in those large scale projects. Also, internal communication. I am huge on internal communication. I think it's just as important as the communication we make with diverse connections we make with diverse vendors. It's really important to be able to have those relationships with our safety coordinator, our operations department, because I want them to feel comfortable coming to me, asking me if I have any diverse vendors that they can use for landscaping or paving or whatnot. You know, just recently, for example, when COVID started, I knew that our safety team was going to be looking for PPE supplies. So I reached out to our safety coordinator here and I said, hey, I know you're going to need hand sanitizer, you know, mask, whatever it may be, please see me. I know I have a lot of diverse vendors that I can get this for products for you. So he did, and I was able to utilize a minority-owned business to get us with hand sanitizer, sanitizing stations, masks, signs for the building. So it really is about building those relationships internally, just as much as important as it is building the external relationships. I also throw in this slide from the CPUC's annual en banc. We made the top 10 performers for 2019 and 2018. Yes, we are 10th there, but nevertheless, we are on there and I'm very proud of that. So I wanted to just give an idea of upcoming projects, and these are mostly our construction, our large plant projects, pipeline installation. And like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of room here to work not just directly as a prime, but also as a sub. Through California Water Association, which is comprised of 7 Class A water utility companies, and San Gabriel's one of the 7, we actually host a Meet the Primes event. So if anyone is interested in that, please reach out to me and let me know. The purpose of this event is for us to connect primes with diverse subcontractors. So it's a really good event. We've made a lot of good connections there. And in doing that, you can be able to help the primes, work with the primes on these large scale value projects that you may not be able to take on yet on your own. There we are. So for 2020, our CIP projects, we have 73.3 million spending budget. And I wanted to point out some other areas of opportunity besides the construction. We're always looking for traffic control, diverse vendors, generator suppliers was a recent one. Civil engineering design is one that we seem to always be in need of. I've recently been asked for pest control, drilling and rehab. So, you know, if you are a provider of one of these services or products, please let me know. These are areas of opportunity that are often open. So now I'll dive into our vendor onboarding process. If you are interested in becoming a vendor with San Gabriel Valley, this is the process. We have a vendor information form on our website at www.sgbwater.com, and that would be your first step. You want to fill out that form and also submit a statement of qualifications, and it will have my information on there to send back to me. I will review your information, your capabilities, and I will send it along to the appropriate departments. I will make sure to follow up, and if there is a need for additional information, I will reach out to you and let you know. Sometimes the department will request a meeting. Typically it's in person. Now it's obviously virtual. They'll be able to hear from the vendor. Sometimes they'll have them present depending on what it is. And if it is final approved, then we would add you to our database. San Gabriel does not post their bids publicly, so you do have to be qualified in our database in order to receive an RFP from us. Some of the documents that we ask for are, besides the statement of qualifications and vendor application form, would be insurance certificates, permits if you're in construction, resumes of key personnel. If you're certified in the clearinghouse, we would want a copy of that. Really important is recent projects and references. We do check references. You want to make sure you include that information, especially if you've done any projects with a similar, I know I'm with a water utility, but wherever it is that you're applying to be a vendor, if it's SoCal Gas, you want to include references from recent projects similar to gas. And if you have them, if you don't, then of course you're not going to provide that. But if you do, you want to make sure that you include those similar projects that you've worked on. We may ask for financial statements, your bonding capabilities, if applicable for the job. And like I said, an in-person meeting and do a final review. I want to also say that this process can be lengthy. Very rarely is it a very quick process. And it also depends on what you provide. If you provide a product that we are in need of, like for example, I spoke about hand sanitizer earlier. If that's something we're in need of, then I will go to my database of vendors that have reached out to me and provided the form and statement, and I will go through them and we will send out a request for a quote from those companies for prices on the hand sanitizer. That of course is not a lengthy process, but if you are looking to be a contractor with us, a pipeline installer, sometimes those can be lengthy. It just depends on our needs and also, what you provide and if you're a good fit for us. And I don't want you to feel like just because you don't get awarded a contract with San Gabriel, it's still good to make those connections. As I mentioned, I'm part of California Water Association, and we refer to each other all the time when we need references. I get emails from my colleagues all the time asking for, do you know any diverse vendors who do paving, or do you know any diverse landscapers? Do you know any? And I look at my database, people that I've met at these events, at conferences, and I provide them that information. So just because there may not be a potential contract with San Gabriel, it's still good to make those connections because you don't know where it may lead to. I've mentioned several times the clearinghouse certification. So this is the certification that's recognized by CPUC regulated investor owned utility companies. I strongly recommend that you look into getting certified in the clearinghouse. It is not just the water companies that utilize this database, it's also gas, electric, and telecommunications companies as well. And I can't speak for them, but I know for myself, I go into this database all the time and look for diverse vendors. If you do qualify, your company needs to be 51% owned by woman owned, minority owned, LGBT owned, or disabled veteran. It not only needs to be 51% owned, you also need to be involved in the day-to-day operations. So what you would do is apply for certification at the supplierclearinghouse.com. They will ask you for a number of documents. Typically pre-COVID, it would be an in-person meeting, but of course it's going to be a virtual meeting. And they may ask you for financial statements. They may ask for bylaws and other information on the company, and they will determine if you are qualified or not. The process, I think it takes longer to submit the information, but the actual approval denial process takes about 2 weeks to a month. So it's not very lengthy. They really try to get this done in a timely manner. If you have any questions on getting certified, how to get certified, you need me to put you in contact with someone at the clearinghouse to help you, or if it's taking too long to hear back, please let me know. I have a contact at the clearinghouse that I can touch base with, let them know I have someone applying, and they will really walk you through it. They're very friendly. They want to help you get certified, so don't be afraid to reach out to them. It is free. It does not cost anything but your time to get certified in the clearinghouse, which is why I strongly recommend you do so. I just want to share a couple of success stories I had with the clearinghouse. I had our chief engineer ask me for if I had any diverse vendors that did space planning. I guess, we were going to do it at our Almani office. We needed a consultant to do space planning assessment. I did not know any. I had not met any at any conferences. I went into the clearinghouse. I searched the database, and I was able to provide him with a few options that I found that they did space planning. So one of those ended up getting awarded this contract. She is an African-American woman-owned company out of Pasadena. And I was so happy that she was awarded the contract. And this is because I went in the clearinghouse. And I know my colleagues do the same thing. They go in the clearinghouse, they really utilize that to find vendors, which is why I am really stressing the importance of being certified in there. I included this slide because I've been asked a lot by our vendors if we have any challenges or setbacks due to COVID-19. And I think specifically, they're asking as far as opportunities. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on successes and challenges for us during the pandemic. Of course, like everyone else, we've implemented safety protocols. We have alternating in-office work schedules. We've got the masks, the PPE items, maintaining social distancing. We're not doing any in-person meetings at this time. As far as our USDP program and our supplier diversity goals, they remain the same. Of course, we had to pivot and reformat how to achieve these goals. We can no longer make connections in person, but pretty soon along came all of the virtual events, webinars, conferences, and that's what we've been doing, and also maintaining communication. I know it's a difficult time for a lot of our vendors, and they've had to pivot as well. So it's about maintaining that positive communication. And I'm happy to say that our numbers as far as our diverse spend have remained steady. So there is no negative impact to that. We had some projects delayed, some of our company projects, just to avoid service interruption to our customers because they were, home for a lot of the quarantine. So we didn't want to delay any of their service, and so we did delay some of those projects. But for the most part, our projects are proceeding as scheduled. So there are still a lot of opportunities out there for you. So don't think that this has, negatively affected that. All right, so I also wanted to go over just, some things that I feel would be beneficial to discuss to help you in working with not just San Gabriel Valley, but with the utilities in general. Visit our websites, really get to know what we do and how you can help and how your company can benefit us and what you provide, whether it be a service or a product. Find out what it is that you are providing and how it can benefit us, and then bring that to our attention. So you can do that by visiting our websites. You can read our previous annual reports. Every year on March 1st, we have to submit an annual report to the CPUC and report on the previous year, and we go into full detail of the conferences we attended. We have a full calendar on there of every single conference and expo and whatnot. We have all of our numbers broken down into categories of what we spend with each diverse category. We talk about upcoming projects. We talk about our second tier spend. So it really is beneficial to read that, because you're able to see what we did, and it kind of gives you a highlight of what's coming up. The calendar is really important. Most of our events are annual, so they repeat every year. So if you have one copy of that calendar, you can Google, when the next CPUC Expo is, or when the next VIB conference is. And it's really good to attend those events, because those are opportunities that you get to meet the utility companies, not just San Gabriel. There's hundreds there. SoCal Gas, Edison, Metropolitan Water District. There are a lot of different agencies there that you want to make connections to. A lot of those events offer matchmaking. I highly recommend that you do the matchmaking. And what that is basically speed dating for businesses. And it can be a little nerve-wracking, but you want to practice your sales pitch, practice your introduction. You usually have like 5 to 10 minutes with each agency, and you really want to use that time beneficial. I know for me, sometimes I'm able to get my our VP of engineering there. So to be able to have that 5-10 minutes with him is really a great opportunity. So you want to make sure you're ready for that, because you never know when that's going to be. All the utilities are different as far as our onboarding process, which is why you really want to do your homework. You want to visit our websites, understand the process. Our onboarding that I just went through in the previous slide can be, substantially different than MWD or Metropolitan Water District or SoCal Gas. So you want to make sure that you understand the differences. And also some utilities have, or agencies have, different certifying agencies that they use. So not everyone uses the Supplier Clearinghouse as their certification agency. So you want to make sure you find that out too if there's a specific utility you're looking to work with. I know right now with the lack of in-person conferences, it's difficult to make that initial introduction connection. So it is wise to send a brief introduction email. And I wanted to spend some time on this email, because you'd be amazed at some emails that I get. Keep in mind, we get hundreds of emails daily, and a lot of them come from prospective vendors that want to work with San Gabriel. And I just want to touch base on this because sometimes they come across looking as spam. So you want to make sure that they don't, they're not so general and just, hi, please, please consider my company, and just have a name at the end. You want to make sure it doesn't come across as spam, because I'm hesitant to open an attachment if there is an attachment. If it's just a name on the signature and not a formal like business logo or anything, it can be a little bit confusing, and I'm not sure if it's spam or not. And you also want to make sure it's not extremely lengthy, but also that you cover key information. Obviously include the service or product you provide and how it can benefit San Gabriel Valley Water Company. If you've recently worked with a water utility, you can include that. Hi Jeanette, I've recently worked with Jose at Cal Water. He thought that I should reach out to you. This is what we provide. Please include your contact information. I know that seems silly, but I have had some come across and I don't have a phone number or a website. If you have that, make sure you include that all in your signature. And also, if you have any attachments, keep it simple. If you have a statement of qualifications, please include that in the email. And also, speaking of statement of qualifications, you want to really keep that up to date. And it can be statement of capabilities or statement of qualifications. It's called both, but you want to make sure you keep that up to date. If I get an email from, let's say, a generator service or generator products provider, and I'm like, wow, we've been looking for generators. I'm going to send this to our design manager who was asking me about this. And I want everything to be on that statement of qualification so he can open it up and he can see clearly what the company provides, what type they provide. I don't want him to have to go digging for information. So you want to make it clear, concise, and easy for the companies to be able to understand what you offer and how it can benefit us. So really spend some time working on your statement of capabilities. Also, the clearinghouse, like I mentioned, getting certified in the clearinghouse, you also want to make sure to keep that information up to date. As I mentioned previously, I know myself and the other utilities utilize it often, and you'd be surprised how many times we go in there and emails are not valid, they get bounced back, websites are not in service anymore, phone numbers are not connected. So if you change any of that information, make sure you contact the clearinghouse as soon as possible so they can update that in their database. You want to make sure you include a description of what you do in the clearinghouse, because when we run that report for landscape services, there's a column for description, and a lot of them leave it blank. And we really want to see something in there. We want to see what you do, what's your experience in landscape, what have you done before, have you worked with before. So you want to make it easy for us to be able to say, oh, it looks like they would be qualified to work for us. So include as much information as possible there. Also, you want to be prepared. I kind of touched on this a couple minutes ago. Be prepared when the opportunity arises. You never know who's going to be at these virtual events, these conferences, and you want to be prepared for that. Practice your sales pitch. Practice in the car, practice in the mirror, just like you would for a job interview. Make sure you utilize that 2 to 3 minutes that you might have effectively, and include in there what you provide. I just want to tell you a couple of things that I've had people come to me and say, what can we do for you? What do you do at the water company? Do you provide bottled water? I mean, it just shows that they don't really know what we do, and they want me to tell them what they can do for us. And it doesn't make me feel confident in what they're providing, because if you are confident in what you provide, whether it's a service or product, you're going to tell me what you can bring to the table. So really polish that sales pitch and make it sound confident, and make it sound like you're fully aware of what you can provide and what you can do for us. Let me move this out of the way. All right, so follow-up. You do want to follow up. I'm not opposed to the follow-up. I know that some companies, utility companies, are opposed to it, but I myself, I'm not. I think that you need to follow up. We get so busy, and it's nice to hear from you every once in a while. Every month, every other month, just kind of chime in. Hey, Jeanette, I just wanted to remind you that we are offering this service. You got to be patient and understand that it takes time, but you also need to be persistent. And at times it can be hard to find the fine line between that, but that is what you want to try to achieve, is the patience and the persistence at the same time. Let's say I have a supplier who she's been reaching out to us. She reaches out to me every month. What I like that she does is, like, she recently won an award for another, I think it was a WeBeck, or women's owned business. She sent me an email saying, hi, Jeanette, just wanted to share our recent achievements. We won, Corporation of the Year, or a Business of the Year for WeBeck. And I thought that was really nice, because it keeps me informed. It shows me that she's really, making an effort to connect with me, and also letting me know what she's up to, and her recent events with her business. So I think that it's really good, and that's a good idea. And it's a reason to reach out. You're sharing this information that you recently had in your business. So if you win a contract, or with another water utility agency, you could reach out and say, just wanted to let you know, we're now working with Liberty Utilities on this, and maybe, you might be interested in that down the road. We're here to help you. So those are good ideas of ways to communicate without just saying, do you have anything for us? What can we do? Other ways of communication. Actually, that was my last slide. So again, thank you for having me, and thank you. I hope that you learned some new information here that you can take with you. And I believe we're going to open up for questions now.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Jeanette. That was wonderful. Such great information. So what I want to do is to go through the chat and begin to pose some of these questions. We have a question from Raymond. Is this program under the umbrella of Department of General Services, California?
Department of General Services, no, it's not. But Department of General Services certifies the disabled veteran organizations. And the CPUC recognizes that, the clearinghouse recognizes that certification. So if you are currently certified with DGS, then when you apply to the clearinghouse, you let them know that you're certified with DGS, and they just transfer that certification over.
Wonderful.
I hope that answers your question.
And the next question is, programs such as CMAS, SLP comes under this? And I'm not sure what that means exactly. So Raymond, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, you're certainly welcome to.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that program.
Maybe we'll come back to that question. The next question is, we represent an IT reseller firm. How can we utilize services from this program and build connections and get on board on large scale state and federal contracts?
Well, I would say, like I mentioned, getting certified. If you are qualified for the certification, it's a major advantage to have that certification. So step one, if there's a specific agency you want to work with, I would research that agency and find out what certification they use. Is it the clearinghouse? I'm not too familiar with the other ones, but if it's not the clearinghouse, then you want to make sure you get certified at that particular, through that particular agency.
So I see a couple of questions, Jeanette, that are kind of similar. So I'm going to read them to you, but I think that there's a general answer for both of them. One question came from Gloria. It says, how can people with finance background, professional services, utilize their services in these contracts? With these requirements, how do businesses qualify? And then the second question is also, what kind of products or category of products are supported in this? Like an IT products or services qualify under this? So I think there's more general answer for that one.
Well, you can be in any service or provide any product to get certified in the clearinghouse. So it doesn't matter what you provide, you can get certified in the clearinghouse if you qualify as a minority-owned, woman-owned, LGBT-owned, disabled, veteran-owned. So there are no restrictions as far as what category you need to be in to get certified. As long as you are owned, minority-owned, woman-owned, LGBT, disabled, veteran, you will be able to get certified. Once you get your certification, and even before you get your certification, I strongly recommend that you start attending these events, these webinars with utility agencies, so you can make those connections. I've had some companies, I have to tell you this story because it's one of my favorite success stories that I always share. I also work in development here at San Gabriel, and I had a developer contact me for a development project here in Fontana. It had nothing to do with supplier diversity. And he started talking to me about that he owns his own contracting company, and they build, I think it was concrete walls, or that's their specialty. And I asked him if he was certified in the clearinghouse. He had never heard of it. So I told him about it. couple months later, he emails me. He's like, Jeanette, thank you so much. I actually got certified. He said, here's my certification. Here's my statement of qualifications. If you ever need, if you ever need this service, let me know. I said, okay, I'm so glad to hear that. I kid you not, like a week later, someone from my operations team came over and asked me, do you know any diverse vendors that do concrete walls? And I was like, oh my gosh. So I pulled up his information and I gave it to our operations team. And he's actually in the process of winning a contract right now. And I think it's like $100,000, awesome. $200,000 contract. So it's just about making those connections. Step one, start making the connections by attending these webinars, attending these conferences, getting to know utilities like myself and my colleagues in California Water Association. Like I said, you can go to my website. We have a calendar of events, or you can look at our previous CPUC reports. We have a calendar of events there, and Google those events, and most of them are online now. So you can attend, most of them are free. And that's how you can start making connections while you're getting certified.
Absolutely. There's another question. Is CPUC the same as DBE certification?
Well, no. Well, CPUC is the California Public Utilities Commission that we are regulated by. The certification that we recognize is clearinghouse certification. So a DBE is a disadvantaged business enterprise. So if you are a DBE, then you can get certified in the clearinghouse. I know there's a lot of acronyms and terminology, and I know it's hard to kind of dissect it all. But basically, a DBE is the category of diverse vendors. And if you qualify for a diverse vendor, you can get certified in the clearinghouse.
Mm-hmm. And I think you've already answered this question. Someone asked about the benefits of this certification, I guess, with the supplier clearinghouse certificate. I feel like you've answered that question.
Yes, there are a lot of benefits.
Okay.
And it's free. It's free.
And then the follow-up question regarding the CPUC certification is, if it's not the same as a DBE, are they considered to be equal?
I think a DBE might be a different type of certification, but from what I understand, for the clearinghouse certification, the only ones that roll over, which will automatically qualify as a clearinghouse certification, is being certified through DGS. If you're a disabled veteran and you're certified through DGS, that will roll over to a clearinghouse certification. Also, if you certify through the LGBT, I believe it's, I can't remember. I'll look that up. If you're interested in that LGBT certification, let me know. But there's another agency that certifies LGBT, and that one will roll over and into the clearinghouse. So other than those two, there are no other ones that would be equal to.
I think you've answered this question too. Someone asked if there was an administrative fee for the services provided under the program. So I think that was more geared toward the certification, and I think you answered that there is no cost for the.
Correct, no cost. No cost for the certification.
Someone wanted to know, will you provide the slides from this presentation? Sure. Okay. And then, is there an online portal for all of the opportunities that can be published or provided under this program?
So for San Gabriel, we don't post our opportunities publicly or our bids publicly, but every company is different. For example, California American Water, they do post theirs publicly. You do have to go register through their supplier portal, and then through there you can view their opportunities. So every utility company is different. For San Gabriel, no, we don't post them, but I'll just reemphasize that this is why it's important to start connecting with all of the different agencies. That way you start to understand how each one works.
So there's another question. Thank you, Jeanette. Do you have opportunities for small businesses that aren't considered MeBe, WeBe, or diverse disabled veteran business enterprises?
Of course we do. We don't turn away, non-diverse, diverse. We are equal opportunity. It just depends if they are qualified, if they're a good fit for our company. Having a certification, diverse certification, is an advantage, but it doesn't guarantee you to win a contract or lose a contract. It's just an advantage having that certification.
I'm going to ask Steve King to unmute if you can, because Steve, I wanted you to go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my question is, I know there's county-specific projects as well, but if our headquarters is outside of LA or something, for example, or San Diego, and the project is located on there, or the government agency, is there still a chance of winning a contract?
There is, and each agency is different. For San Gabriel, we like to try to find vendors in our service area just because it gives back to the community. But we will go out of those boundaries if we can't find one in our service area. We have vendors that are based out of San Diego. We're in LA County, so we have vendors based out of San Diego. We also have vendors based out of NorCal. So there definitely still is opportunity.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think there was another question that I was having a hard time interpreting. Raymond, did you want to ask your question? Raymond.
Hi, this is Raymond. Well, actually, I wanted to ask about the CMAS, that is the California Multiple Award Schedule, that comes under the umbrella of DGS, and same is the case with the SLP, that is the Software Licensing Program. I just wanted to make connection, like the CPUC, that the program, that the benefits there it's going to provide. Is this the same like the programs, sort of like the DGS? Like, I'm still establishing the connection between these two.
No, there really is no connection. So the CPUC is California Public Utilities Commission that regulates private investor-owned companies, utility companies, and the clearinghouse is the database we use to recognize certified diverse vendors. So it sounds like what you're referring to is a separate certification program.
And also, Jeanette, you also mentioned that there is no administrative fee for that. So I'm just thinking about how the sale is going to work, like how the opportunities, like, don't you guys like have any sort of like fee for that, or how does the procurement work? Like, let's say we establish a connection just because of the services provided under this program, it's going to provide benefits to us. So how does that works for you guys?
So what's free is the certification process through the clearinghouse. That is what's free. So once you're in there, you have access to different agencies viewing your business. As far as the cost of the clearinghouse and their administrative, that is handled through the joint utilities, through all the utilities.
And also the list of products that, like, there is IT, it's a huge category. It do comes under this program, right?
Well, yes, IT can get certified in the clearinghouse. Any service or product provider can get certified in the clearinghouse as long as you qualify.
Sure. Then, Jeanette, I would be glad to connect with you after this meetup. That's so thoughtful and helpful that you guys have provided this opportunity for us to have the benefit of this program.
Thank you. Yeah, you can email me. I have my information on the screen. You can email me your contact information or statement of qualifications, and we can go from there.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to find out if there's any more questions at this time. Want to make sure we didn't miss anybody because I saw there was a lot of questions in the chat and I was trying to get through all of them. So if I missed your question, can you go ahead and let us know?
And Kimberly, we do looking for lunch, you know, on a
Oh,
lighter
thank
note.
you. Thank you. Thank you. So if there's no more questions before we close out, I just want to take one more moment to share. And a number of you, may still have a lot of questions and concerns about contracting and making sure that you have the capacity. So I like to share, we have 2 upcoming events. For those of you who are familiar with our Certified Business Enterprise Supplier Training Program, which we call CBEST, we actually have an information session tonight, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. I like to say that our program is second to none. We have people in our cohort right now who have gone through some of the larger programs that are offered on contracting. And they have even said, Kimberly, I've never seen a program like this before. So if you want to learn more about developing the capacity and also developing the relationships necessary to have your company to scale through contracting, please join us tonight for our CBEST information session. We are recruiting for the spring cohort. And then also join us on the first and third Thursdays of the month to learn more about our Accelerate program. Again, all of our programs are geared to provide capacity training for diverse suppliers and to position your company to be able to scale through corporate and government contracts. I'd like to say to Jeanette Diaz, thank you so much for coming on again and sharing information regarding the San Gabriel Valley Water Company and the contracting opportunities. This information was so beneficial. And as people like you who have the wonderful charge and job of making these opportunities and sharing these opportunities available with diverse suppliers, I can't tell you how much we really appreciate you. To everyone that's on the call, just a reminder that we do offer these lunch and learns every month on the first and third Wednesday of the month from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. There's our flyer. You can also visit our website for more information about what's coming. Visit us at scvirtualbusinesscenter.com. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending. If there's no more questions, we're going to close out. And again, thank you so much, Jeanette. I don't know if you have a final word you want to leave with everyone before we close.
You're welcome. Thank you again for having me. And I know that this can be very confusing with the clearinghouse certification. So if you need any help, I really am open to helping you get certified. I have a lot of great contacts at the clearinghouse that are eager to help businesses get certified. So please feel free to reach out to me and I will help you. Thank you all again.
Thank you. And we say to everyone, go ahead and have a wonderful day. And please don't forget to join us tonight. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kimberly Ross. Hello, Articulture.
Let's see, it looks like I'm the last one.